Uh, so today's agenda is we are going to discuss four things today, right? So first thing will be how to build your GitHub repository, right? Many people have been asking that how to build it. So I will just give a quick walkthrough. Maybe some of you already know it, but it will take 2-3 minutes to just cover it. Then we will talk about request module, right? Which can help you to make HTTP calls from Python, right? So you can make HTTP calls, get some response, and use it in your Python code. Okay, we will also discuss. So, web scraping as such, we are not going to cover. So, basically, you can use request module to get the data from any website, and then on top of that, there are a lot of libraries like Beautiful Soup or something to do proper, web scraping. But what we will cover that how we can web scrape using pandas. Okay. So basically, if you have a web page or a website where you have some tables, right? So that you can web scrape using pandas, and we will see how we can do it. And in the end, we will discuss the how to read configuration files, like we discussed, right? If we have multiple environments, different servers in a file, how to read without hard coding. I want to read from a file based on the environment, right? So we will discuss that as well. Okay. So these are the four things we are going to cover today. Okay, so let's start with GitHub. GitHub. So just go to GitHub, login. Okay, so if you don't have any account, you can create an account and log in. I already have an account and my username is Ankit Bansal 6. So you can just create your account. That's it, nothing much. And then what you can do, you can just say, so you can create multiple repositories. So for each project, right? So you will say new, right? So it will create a new repository, right? So now you can give what name you should give of your repository. So you can give Namaste Python, or let's say Namaste Cart. I have already created with this name project something. Okay. So for your project, you can give a project name and then you can give some description what this project is about. This project is part of Namaste Python course, right? Any description you can give. Right now, you want this repository to be public or private, you can give. Generally, you have to give public because you will be adding it in your resume to show to others, right? If you want to keep it private, you can keep it private, no one else can see it. But generally, you will keep it public, right? Because you will be using it for your resume and all, right? Now, add a README file. This is important. So, you have to add a README file. In README file, you can add all the details of your project, right? What libraries you are using, what kind of things you are using in your project, right? So, these things you can add and you can just say create repository, right? Okay, so your repository is created now, right? Namaste card project. Now, this is your readme file. We will come to it. But what you can do is now you can add files. So let's say you have done a project and you upload all the files of that project. So I will go to upload those files. Let's say Namaste Python, and we can take any example, any file as such. Let's say I'm adding Namaste Python day 2. Okay. So you can just add it. You can add multiple files, 2-3 files. Okay. And you can add a comment why you are adding this. So this is my first project file. Any comment you can add. And then you can say commit changes. Okay. So it will process your file. And if you see in your this repository, you have this file now. npday2.py. You can open and check the, the code in that. Right. So likewise, you can add all your files. Like in our Namaste card project, we have, let's say, 3 files you have created. You can add all 3 files and it will be shown here. And you give your GitHub link in your resume. Anyone can come and see what all repositories, what all projects you have created, right? And then they can go through it. Okay. They can go through all the repositories that you have created. All are public. They can open and see what kind of work you have done, right? So this will help in getting calls, right, in your for your interviews. Now this is important. README file. In README file, you can add all the details. So if I go to README file, do add it. Okay. So you can add this is so whatever description it is added here, but you can add a lot of things like libraries used, right? You can add what are the libraries used in your project in this project. So you can say pandas, you know, NumPy or whatever libraries are used. So that person will know that which libraries, if someone is using your code, to build this project, he can check what are libraries are required so he can install it or just for the information as well, right? And there are a lot of formatting you can do. So if you go to GitHub, README doc, hmm. If you go to GitHub README doc, this link, they have given that how you can format. So for example, if there's a first level heading, you can just give hash. Second level heading, so I'll just show you how it looks like. So let's say, and if I do preview, you can do preview. So whatever changes you are making in your README file, you can just review it before publishing it. So if you see, this is the first level heading, the big heading. If you want a smaller heading and if a third level heading, so you can do using hash. If there is one hash, then it is first level, two hash, three hash, right? Like that, we have lot of other formatting options, right? So if you go down, right, other than that, you have styling, right? If you want bold, italic, how you have to do it, you can just check here, right? You have to add a star, right? So if you add a star, then it will be a bold, right? So this, so you can write a good looking, README file. So you see, this is a bold text, right? It is coming as bold. So this is normal, right? This is your heading, and your normal thing you want to make it bold, you can make it bold like this, right? So if I just do this star, 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 this becomes bold, right? So this is how you can make things bold. So there are a lot of things you can, whenever you are creating a repository, just open this documentation and you can do anything, whatever you want. You can even add images, right? If you see, you can add images here. So you can add the image link, and uh, here everything is given how you have to achieve it, right? So this is a good way of create. So README files are important because anyone is coming, they might not be looking at your code directly. They will go through the README file, right? What all things you have used in your project, what is the end goal of your project, what is the architecture. You can create an architecture of your project and then add it as an image, right? So that will look good. Okay. Okay. That is it. Any other doubt on the GitHub part? I think it is straightforward. You just have to start doing it and you can just say commit changes and that's it. You can add a description so that you can later know what commit you did. Okay. Commit change. Okay. Great.
I
Yeah.
saw one licensing part over there. Is that
Hmm.
required?
No, licensing is not required for you.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you are using some, let's say some tool where license and all are there, maybe you can mention I have not used license, but
Okay.
in general, you don't require that.
Okay.
Okay, great. So we will see today that how we can. So we will learn about request module and we will read from the GitHub as well, just to show you an example how we can make HTTP request. Okay, great. So let's move on to the request module. So request module, as I said, it is used to make HTTP calls from Python, right? So I can call a website and it will give me the response, all the HTTP content. Okay. So let's see how it works. So I will say import request. So the module name is request. Okay. So next, what we are going to do, we will make a simple call. Let's say some wiki page. Um, Wikipedia.org. Tell me something. So this is my wiki page. Okay, any page you can take for that matter. So I will say, okay, let me put like this. URL is this, right? So this is my URL. Okay, HTTP URL. I'll say data is equal to request dot get. Right now, for the request module, there are a lot of methods: get module, post module, put module. Right? Get module is to get the data, right? To make the HTTP call. So I will just pass this URL here. URL. Okay, and I'll just press enter. Okay, so this is done. Now there are a bunch of things. Let me show you what all methods we can apply now. So I will say directory data. Okay, it will tell me that what all methods are available for this data whatever variable it is, right? So it is a response basically from the request module. Okay, so if you see, there are a lot of methods like content, cookies, encoding, headers, right? JSON and status codes. So there are a lot of methods we can apply. So let's see some of them. Okay. So let me create one. Okay. So the response came in the data, right? So I will say data dot. mm, Let's take status code. Okay. So status code will tell you if it is success or not, right? So if I say it is 200, 200 means success. So HTTP response codes. If you go here on the Wikipedia itself, you can get it. So if you see the different codes, so for success there are 200. Okay, so 200 means it's a success. If I give something wrong, so for example, I give some wrong website name. Say 123. Let me remove it for a moment. And if I check the status code, it is giving me 404. 404 is not found, right? If I do 404, 404 is not found, right? And 200 is the success, right? That for the get call, 200 is a success. Standard response for successful HTTP request. The actual response will be depend on the request method used, right? 200 means the response is fine and we can use it. So I'll just change it back to word complete. So there are a lot of responses you can read through all of them, right? What does what mean? Okay. So mm, okay, so this is my response 200, which means it is fine, right? Now we want to see the content, what content I got, right? So if I just say content, it will give me the content. Okay. So this is the HTML content, right? So if I just go here again, this one, and if I say uh, inspect, okay, so it will give me this HTML file, right? So at this point, what is the HTML snapshot of this website? It will give me in that response you are getting in the request module. Yeah, right. So this content you are getting from here, your full HTML, right? Now, generally what happens if you are doing a web scraping? So you will just call the request get method, right? Once you get it, then on top of you can do web scraping. You can put regular expressions or there are a lot of libraries, as I said, beautiful soap and other libraries which you can apply. And based on some HTML tags, you can get different things you can fetch from this response, right? So you can, if you want to study about it, you can study Beautiful Soap library. It's a good library to do web scraping. And but we will see how we can do using pandas today. But full-fledged web scraping you can do using request plus Beautiful Soap. Okay. Okay. So this is your get. But apart from get, you can do a lot of other things. Like if you want to post something, right? Let's see GitHub repository. So let's do this. So let me create a new one. So let's see the GitHub URL. So for GitHub, so if you go to GitHub APIs, so we can make an API call as well, right? So for example, GitHub API, yeah. Okay. So it will tell you what how to use APIs, right? So you can get a API call to get all your repositories, to get user details, for a lot of other things you can do it, right? So so for example, let's take one example. Um, okay, but we can do it directly. So URL will be https API.com. I think this is the one. We'll see. So this is your URL, and let's say you want the repositories, right? This is the one, and now you also need authentication. So in the request, when you call, use this request.get method. So for Wikipedia, we don't need any authentication, right? But but for GitHub or other API calls generally, right? So this is purely a HTTP call, and this is a API, GitHub API where they might add authentication. So for Wikipedia, you don't log in, right? You just go and see it. For some other website, you might have to log in first and then you can see. For example, for my GitHub, I logged in and then I was able to see, right? So that way, you have to pass some authentication, right? So for that, we have a auth parameter we have to pass, right? Now for GitHub, we can pass the token as my password. So for example, if I go to my GitHub again and go to settings and settings, so you will see personal access tokens here, right? So this is a token I have already created. I can create a new token. So let's say generate new token. Okay. So Python 15. I have to give some name, right? For what purpose I am creating this token. Okay. So how many days it will expire? You should not again you share it with anyone. I'll just delete it after this session. So let's say I want to create it for 7 days, and what all access you want to give, right? I want to give repo access because I want to read repositories, right? Uh, you can give other accesses if required, right? User read, email, follow, all these, whatever accesses you want to give, you can give. For example, I want to read projects, right? So that's it. I think generate token. So it generated a token. I'll just copy this token, and this becomes my token now. Okay, so this is my token and this is my URL. I want to read repos. For read repos, this is the URL user repos. Okay, now I will make the HTTP call, API call. I'll just get URL. Now I have to pass one more parameter, one more argument for authentication. So I will say auth equal to, and I will pass user. So user equal to Ankit Bansal 6, right? This is the user. So I'll pass user and token, right? So your username password in our case it is a token. Okay, so I can just call this, run this, and see the response. So data dot response. If I just do data, it will give me the response, right? So 200 response, which means it is success, right? Like we saw. At 200 is a success message. So let's see what we have in this. So dot content, if you see, it is giving me all the content, right? If you see, it is giving me my let's do JSON. So we can even do JSON. So JSON. Okay, so what it is giving me, it is returning me a list. In list, each repository is a JSON. Okay, so let me make it as a variable repo equal to data.json, right? And if you check type of repo, it's a list, right? And how many elements are there? So length of repo. Cool. So I have 4 GitHub repositories, right? So if I go back to my, so if you see there are 4 repositories, one, two, three, four, and for each of the repositories, it has given me a JSON, and each JSON is a element of the list. So if I just check the first element, 0, it will give me details of my first repo, right? The repo name is 26 weeks of data science and all other things about this repository. The last updated has issues, whatever we have, right? So the one we created is repo 3, I think. Okay. So this is the Python one, and this is everything, right? So this is how you make a API call, right? You give the URL and also the authentication you have to do, right? There are other arguments, again you can read about it of the request package, but to get HTTP response, you just use this get method. Okay. Now, for example, you want to create some repository from Python and lot. You want to put something, right? So there are post and put requests. Again, we are not covering, but you have the basic idea that how to use it, right? Okay. Okay. Now we will see how we can do some kind of web scraping using pandas. Okay. So that is, let's say you have a website and there are some tables in it. If we go back to this one, Cricket World Cup, okay, and let's see, we have some tables here. Okay, so we have this table, right? And we have other tables. We have some tables here. Okay. So let's say I want to get all of this table into my Python. Okay. I want to read them as a table and do some, create some report or whatever, right? So I want to do some web scraping on this, right? But only I want to get tables, right? So to get all the tables, I can use pandas. Let's do it quickly. So let's go here. Web scraping using pandas. Yep. So we'll say import pandas as PD, right? Okay. Let's say data equal to PD dot read HTML. So we have read JSON, read CSV, read Excel. Similarly, we have PD dot read HTML, and I can pass my URL here. Let's create the URL equal to, now here we don't need any authentication, right? It is just a wiki page as such. Just take this, okay, and I will pass the URL here, right? Let's see what will happen. So generally, if you see, whenever we have used this pd dot methods, read JSON, read Excel, right? Read CSV, what does it give? It returns a data frame, right? Are you all with me?
Yes, Ankit.
Yeah.
Right? But this is an exception. We won't get a data frame. Let's see what we will get. XML not found. Okay, I think we have to install some library. It's done. Let's see if it works now. Do I need to restart it? Rewrite it. I think it's happening up here. Okay, we did not get any error. Okay, so we got this data. Okay, if we look at the data quickly, so it is a read HTML file and that XLML, whatever that this you have to install, right? For XML. So it is interpreting XMLs, right? So let's look at the data. So this is my data now, right? So in data, if you see, there are different multiple tables, right? So what does that mean is it returns a list basically. It doesn't return a data frame, it returns a list. So if you check type, okay, so it's a list. Now the list contains all the tables which are present in your web page, right? So in this web page, let's say there are 4 tables, right? So it will return a list with 4 elements. Each element will be a table. So let's see one by one. So let's do data 0. Okay. So this is my first table. Okay. So if I go back here, I think this is also a table. So it is picking up this as a table. This one, right? The year and the champions. So if I go here, it is the uh, trophy, cricket World Cup trophy. This is something else. Some other table it has picked up. Let's see. So this tells that who is the current champion, most successful, Australia, most runs. I think this table will be there somewhere. This is the table. Okay. So this table it has picked up the first one, right? So current champions, most successful, most run, and it is giving me in the first table, data 0, right? So what I can do now, if you want to read it as a table, I can create it in a data frame and do the operation. So for example, what I will do, I will say um, df1 equal to pt dot data frame, right? And I can pass data 0. Okay. It will create in a data frame. We look at df1. We have a data frame now. We do have the columns. If you want to give some columns, I can pass columns equal to, right? What are the columns here? Nothing actually. There's nothing as such. It is just the information, right? Let's look at some of the other tables, right? But you can do it basically. You got the idea. Data 1. Okay, this is another table, right? Nothing much in this table. This is, I think, all the tournament list when that tournament happened, right? So this is the this table which we were seeing here, champions year wise. This one we were seeing, right? The second table. Who is the champion every year? So we have been getting in this in the second element of the list. Again, you can create it into a data frame and use it further, right? So there are more tables, right? So you got the idea that what pandas read.html method will do, it will fetch all the tables from your web page, right? Whatever link you give on this, whatever tables are there. If there is not even a single table, then it will give you error or something like that, that there are no tables, right? This is your second table. So this is a simple way of web scraping all the tables from your web page, right? And backend, how it does is, if you have studies studied HTML, right? So in HTML, there are tags for different kinds of elements. So for example, for table, you have some table kind of tag. I am not expert in HTML, but I'm just telling, right? So in HTML, you have some table elements like this. So it will identify all those elements, right? Wherever table is there and get the data, right? So backend, how it is working, um, but uh, it will not give you anything else. It will just fetch all the tables from your web page and give you. Okay. Any doubts there on web scraping the tables from any web page? It is quite straightforward and simple, right? Anyone, any doubts?
So where will we use beautiful soap?
Sorry, not able to hear you.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, better now.
So what about the web scraping? Where will we use here in web scraping?
Web scraping.
Beautiful soap, where will we use?
Yeah. So for example, you want to fetch some information which is not present in, in the table, right? So there are a lot of information on this website, right? If you want to fetch anything specific, right? Anything is specific for your requirement, you can fetch it using Beautiful Soap. Any particular section you want to, let's say you want to fetch this particular section, right? Or anything as such. You want to get this image, anything you can get it using web scraping. Okay, so for example, let's say you go to Amazon, okay, and you want to fetch prices. So let's say Google Pixel 7. Okay, now this is your web page. Now you want to fetch the prices of each of the phone on Amazon from your web scraping script, right? So you can fetch it using Beautiful Soap. So it will, you can fetch for each product what is the price, right? So example, uh, I know I gave interview for Walmart for one of the team. What they do is they fetch all the price information from Amazon and Walmart. They have their price and they compare, right? So if the price is low or high, based on that, they take some actions. That is a, you know live kind of thing. So they use the web scraping to get the price from Amazon website and compare that with their price. Right? So that is one of the use case of web scraping.
Like when will we use beautiful soap? That module.
Yeah, yeah, Beautiful Soap we will use. So using HTML now, read pandas HTML, we cannot get it. It is not a table, right? So using Beautiful Soap, what I can do, I can get prices of each mobile from the Amazon website by using scraping. So I will scrap this and the price of this, the product name and the price of this. But using pandas, you cannot get it because it is not a table, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is one example. There are a lot of other use cases. Anything you see in website, you can scrap using Beautiful Soap.
How do we identify that? Like, for example, Google Pixel 4 clearly white. So this is one product. So like
Right.
this, it'll so based on the indexing it takes, or like it just
Yeah.
as a whole.
Yeah. So it will, so what will happen is there will be some kind of structure, right? So when you call this HTML page, there will be some kind of structure that one, so let's say there are 10 elements. So there are 10 mobiles, there will be 10 elements. So each element, from each element, you will get the product name and the price kind of thing. Right? Okay. Okay. So this is about read HTML pandas module. I think very good, very simple to use, very intuitive. If you want to have all the tables, from a web page. Okay, great. We will move on to the last thing for today, which is configurations, reading configurations of parameter files. Okay, so for that we have a library. Sorry. Okay, so we have a library called config parser. Import config parser. Okay, so using this library, we can read the configuration files. I'll just show you how to do it. So let's create a config file. So let's say this is my file. Okay. In this file, I have to give different sections. That let's say I have three environments. One is dev, one is testing, and one is prod. So I'll just put it in square brackets and create the environments. So let's say this is my test environment. And this is my prod. Now in this environment, I will keep some things. Let's say password I'm keeping, right? Dev pass, let's say. This is dev user. Okay. Similarly for test environment, I have username, password. It can be anything, server name, anything you can keep. So let's say this is prod user, prod password. So, sorry, this is test one. Let me copy this here. And this is test user, test password. Okay. So I have three environments and you can add as many sections you want. So you just have to put in square brackets. This is your section one is starting, then section two is starting, and then the third section is starting, right? So I'll just save it, and then it can be any extension. You can just create an extension of .config, .txt, anything. It doesn't matter. Any extension you can keep config because it will be a configuration, right? So that is also fine. Okay. Now once we have this place, what we can do, we can import this library config parser. Okay. And then I will I will call a class from this config parser, which is config parser dot config parser. Okay. In this C and P are capital, just keep this in mind. Okay. This is done. Now I can read that file. So let's read that file. So I will say cp.read and our file name is environment.txt. Okay. If I read this, it is done. Okay. Now after that, what I will do. So now let's say I need username of the dev environment, right? So I can simply say cp.get. Now first I have to pass the section. So I want of dev. From dev environment, what I want user. Okay. So if I do this, it will give me the username of dev environment. If I just change it to prod, it will give me username of prod, right? Similarly, if I want test and I want, let's say, password, what is the thing we have given? Password. Okay. It is giving me password, right? So only thing you have to pass is what environment it is, right? Let's say this is a common file you have created across your environments, dev, prod. Now, when you are reading in prod, you just have to make sure you pass prod. Then you have to read from the prod section. Or if you are in test environment, you have to pass that you have to read, you are reading from the test section. So you can do some kind of parameterization and pass it, right? So you don't have to hard code anything in there. You can put your server name, database name, whatever varies as per the environment. You can put it everything here and you can just read it using this config parser. Okay. Any doubt in this config parser?
Ankit, instead
Mhm.
of text file, if there is an XML file
Mm-hmm.
that is having that username and password, so in that case, how to read it?
XML file.
Yes, XML or JSON file, something like that.
See, if it is XML or JSON file, you have to parse it somewhere. So you have to read it as a JSON file. So you have to create these sections, right? Within this section, you can put anything. So you can create multiple variables. So your XML file has different section or how it is? How it is
It
configured?
is kind of tags actually. So the first tag, second tag, third tag, kind of. The tags are in curly braces, something like that. Yeah.
Huh. So that is a XML file, not your this kind of file, right? Where you have
Yes.
sections.
Yes. Yeah. So
Okay.
there won't be this kind of section. So
Okay. So you have to read it as a XML file. So Python has lot of modules to read XML. So that's a different thing. You have to read a XML file basically,
okay.
right?
Hmm.
So pandas also has the method read XML. You can use it, but there are other attributes to read XML and JSON files. You can use those and read your files and get the attributes.
Okay.
But in general, I'm talking like this kind of things you will create, right?
Okay.
Different section and you have all the variables. That's a server, tab server, and similarly, right? You can put it and then we can read it.
Okay.
Great. Any doubt? Any other doubt here? Sorry.
Ankit, can this also read CFG files, .config files?
Yeah, file name can be anything. So let me rename it. Config. And let's see. This is the config. So this is done. So it is able to read config file as well. So it is just an extension, right? Instead of
Okay.
.txt, the extension is config. Otherwise, it is the same. You can make any extension, doesn't matter.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Okay, great. Okay, great. So let's move on to, so we have covered these four things. We have not gone into the depth in the request module, but for other three things, I think this is it. GitHub, how to create GitHub is simple. Web scraping using pandas, this is all it is about. It will fetch all the tables, and then once you get the tables, you can do whatever you want to do with those tables. And again, configuration, there is nothing much. For request module, I have just given you some idea. If you want to pursue or you want to study more about it, you can study. But it is basically to read the HTTP request, right? To make calls, post data, all those kind of things. Okay. Now this is done. I wanted to check on the Spotify project. How many have you done it, or you have any doubts, or anything you want to discuss about the project? Have you guys done that project or not? Anyone? Doing has done. I got one solution actually. Uh, Only one person has sent me, and not sure if anyone else has attempted. Okay, great. You guys have to attempt it. Okay. So I gave you idea how to fetch the data from that response of the API. So you have to build some tables, put it into SQL, and then you can create some charts. Okay. Do you have any doubt how to do it, or you guys have not got time? Anyone can respond, please.
Yeah, couldn't do that.
Yeah. So
I'll try
it
to
is
see.
not just about attending sessions, right? You have to spend some time, right? It is for any programming language, right? If you are just watching videos, attending session, it will not help. You have to get your hands dirty. You have to, spend some good amount of time. If you are doing a 1 hour session, you have to spend 2 3 hours, to get the idea how things are working, right? Otherwise, you will not get that confidence unless and until you really do coding. You will not get that confidence to crack the interviews. So make sure you do some good practice. The pandas are very, very important for interviews, for especially for data profiles. So do good practice on pandas. I have given enough questions, a project also on pandas, right? Do that. Along with that, just good understanding of all the data structures, especially list and dictionaries, right? These are very important to data structures. Make sure you know how to run loop on top of it, how to work with list, how to add element, drop element, search, all of those kind of things, loops, if else statement. So these are very the whatever we learned before pandas and numpy are very basic things you should all know, right? And then pandas are most important after that. Okay. So do some practice, next few weeks, at least 3 4 weeks. If you have not done all the assignment, do the assignments again from day one, right? And create a GitHub repository of each assignment. You can create a GitHub repository, right? Day one, day two, right? So that your GitHub repository will look good. Okay. And whatever project. So we have 3 4 projects now. First is Namaste Cart. Then we had for pandas, we had one project. Then we have STD type 2 for
And we
STD
had
type 1
iPhone
and 2.
project as well.
Yeah, iPhone project, STD type 1, 2. For both of them, you can create repository. One repository, then for Spotify. So you will have 4 5 projects in a repository. If you put that your link of your GitHub profile in your resume, that will really stand out, right? Because there will be hundreds of resume HRs will be getting. But if you add all of these things in your GitHub repository and share, it will really, make you stand out. Okay. So you have to do some hard work next 3 4 weeks, so that you can make advantage of whatever sessions you have attended in last 1 1.5 months. Okay. Okay, guys. Anyone want to ask anything before we wind up today's session? I think I'm not sure if we want to have another sessions. We are done with all of the sessions almost. There are some topics which people are asking. So what I will do in next few weeks, I will add videos and you can watch later. Like for example, regular expressions and few other topics I have in mind, which I will keep adding not just next few weeks, but whenever I see some good topic and if I feel I can add it, I will add it. Okay. So whenever it is there, I will just notify all of you on the Telegram group and you can watch it. Okay. So in Python, as I said, there are a lot of things we cannot cover. If I continue to teach you, I think I can teach you for 1 year and the topics will not end. Right. But whatever important for data profiles, I'll just see and I will keep adding those things. Okay.
Okay, Ankit. So are we going to have assignment on this web scrapping?
I can give assignments. I can give few websites links and then you can web scrap the tables. There's nothing much as I said, right? It is just it will get all the tables.
Yeah.
You can randomly check on any web pages on website. Wherever there is a table, just use this read HTML and you will get the table.
Okay.
Okay. This is only tables, getting tables on web pages.
Ankit, hi. Just like SQL, we had data limo over there, which really helped. So
Yeah.
for like this, any suggestions that you can give?
For Python, I think I can check. In data lemo, you have Python questions as well, no? I
No, I didn't see.
no. Okay. Lead code should be there, right? Lead code, let's see. Python problems. Mm. So in lead code, it is like generic questions. You can solve it using either Python or any other language like JavaScript or anything. There are no Python specific as such,
Mhm.
right? So I don't know which website has Python. Strata Stretch. I don't know.
Go for hacker rank now, you can get a lot of stuff in that.
Plata is also
Python.
good. I mean, when you really want to inculcate, I mean, SQL to Python, and problem level is also good on the Strata.
Where? Strata. Okay.
Strata Scratch, yeah.
Shutter
Okay.
scratch.
Yeah, but you need to get the membership. I think it's around 3,000 something.
Can
Or
you
if,
share
if
the URL?
Yeah, I can ping you the link of Strata Scratch.
oh, I'm not sharing my screen. My bad. Let me share my screen. Okay. So this is the website. Strata Stretch, right? And let's see coding question. Okay, we have Python specific here. Okay, so we have Python questions here. Okay, activity rank. Let's say one. Okay, we have some Python related things. Let me check what is the pricing. This is around yearly is $139. Okay, and this is lifetime. Okay.
Yeah, but it has very updated company interview questions. I mean from advanced level to medium level.
Mhm. Okay.
So
Okay. So what I had done for Data Lemur, actually, I bought the premium membership and I shared with all the learners. So you don't have to spend money, right? You can all use the common credentials. For this also, I'll just check if I can buy it, then I will share the credentials. Okay. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
So thank you so much.
So let me check which plan should I take, either yearly or lifetime will be better, I think. I'll check and share on I'll add in the this only in our Namaste Python course. I will add a file with the
I
credentials.
I took monthly subscription, but they have kept it open for last 4 months. So I don't know what's the algorithm. Yeah.
Monthly you have taken.
Yeah, monthly I took, but I can use their interface and everything from, I mean, I've been using from past 4 months.
No, interface you can use because but there will be limited resources. Not all questions will be open. You can just check if all the questions are
Oh,
open still or not. So some questions might be logged for you.
okay.
Yeah, just check. Maybe or they might have some bug.
Yeah, they have some bug.
Okay. Okay. Mostly I'll take yearly and share with all of you. Okay.
Okay.
Ankit,
Okay.
there's some promo code also, so do avail that in case you decide to.
Where is promo code? Can you share?
Somebody shared it on chat.
Oh, mid-year 40. Okay. Mid-year 40. Let's see if this works. I don't. Okay, I will check. I don't have any account. I think I will have to create an account and then I'll just note it down. Mid-year 40. Okay. So you all can use the common credentials. So generally what happens when you use common credentials, you might see that some solutions are already there. So you can just remove those solutions and then start coding again. Okay. I don't think there will be a concurrency issue. At least in data Lemo, we don't have. I know many people were using it parallelly, but we are not sure about Scratch. But I don't think there will be any issue. Okay.
What is the other one?
That
Data
is for
level?
SQL. That is
SQL.
for
Okay.
SQL. Yeah. Because they have good SQL
So do you
questions.
have a different Telegram for SQL group?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You can check all the questions. You can go inside and start solving these questions. Again, they have the premium membership. So some of the questions are open and some are, premium. So example, data science skills. So there is a problem statement and you can write a SQL and validate it. Run code and submit. It is only Postgres is there.
But
They support
Ankit,
only Postgres.
right, with this data lemma now, whatever interview questions that I've given, I came to know that they do not differ the logic and whatever they are expecting from candidate. It does not differ much from what they have mentioned over here. Maybe just a few things, but most of the concepts and logic remain the same, and they do come from these sets only that I have seen mostly.
Interview questions. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, that's good. Yeah. No, I think the interface of lead code is not that good for SQL practicing because it comes as a, it doesn't come as a table in the output as well, right? It comes as a
Mm-hmm.
array or something, and there's a case sensitivity also. A long back, I did some questions. So there's a case sensitivity issue in lead code. So I think this data lemo is good for SQL practice. And the lead code is not good. Lead code is for general as these guys, it is good. For data guys, I don't see any reason to buy lead code subscription. For SQL, this is good. And I think in Strata Stretch, if I give you, you have SQL as well, right? So you will get both of them. So you have SQL and Python both in Strata Stretch. Okay. So
Yeah.
you can practice more SQL questions again. Whoever has done a data Lamo, you can practice here as well. New set of questions. Okay. They have put the video solutions as well, I think. I'm not sure. Mm, well, it was showing me the video icon. I'm not sure. Anyway. Okay, I'll buy this premium subscription and I will share, put it in the file in the Namaste Python course folder. Okay,
Okay, how do
maybe
we
in
join
last
your
folder.
SQL Telegram group?
Sorry,
How do we join your SQL Telegram group?
have you joined the SQL course?
No.
Okay, I'll share that link. If you want to join, you can join it. I'll put the link in there only in the Namaste Python course or in the. I'll put in the Telegram. It's fine. You can join.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, Angit, sorry, I just joined. So, if you remember, we have one issue regarding that pulling the data from SQL Server.
You had some issue while reading it, right?
Yeah, correct, correct. Did you get
Okay.
any chance to check?
Can you try that? So for updating, if you remember, uh, 1 second. Mm, So can you try this thing? What is that? This if update. Can you do this kind of thing? Create a query like this. Like this was SQL Alchemy, right?
Yeah.
Dot text and create this and then pass this in your select statement. I think then it will work instead of directly passing.
Yeah, hello?
Yeah. Can you try this one? So instead of directly writing your query in read SQL query, you can pass this object and pass this variable in your select SQL query method.
Okay,
Just
instead of directly given the query, we need to pass it to a variable and then we need to provide. You see?
using this
Yeah.
SQL alchemy style dot text, this will create an object. So your error was this is not an object, something kind of that I remember. So this
Okay.
will create an object and then you will pass this.
Okay.
Just create once.
Okay. Can you just
Mostly it
ping
is
me this
some
command? Yeah.
version issue, nothing else, I think.
Okay. Can you just ping me this one in the chat?
Yeah. From the notes you can get it, right?
Okay. Okay.
I can ping as well. So SAL is your SQL Alchemy ka, abbreviation. And this is it. You can write a select query inside the text instead of this update.
Okay. So this command I can directly go add in the cell, right?
Right. Right. Yeah.
Hey, Ankit.
Yeah.
Yeah, for data engineering, we already have learned about Python. We have learned about the pandas and the NumPy libraries. So specifically for the data engineering stream, what else we need to actually learn in Python, or on which
So it
actually?
depends on, so there are different clouds. For example, you have AWS, Azure, all those kind of things, or you have
Right.
Spark, PySpark. So it depends on what you are doing. So for example, for AWS, you have different Boto 3 and other libraries, pandas, Shift library. So you can learn about those libraries if you are doing AWS, right? If you are doing PySpark, then there are Spark libraries, right? If you are doing Azure, then Azure specific libraries. So what area you are working on in data engineering, there are different kinds of libraries, and
Okay.
you can explore those.
Okay. Okay.
But it will be very easy for you now to learn any library because the fundamentals are same, right?
Mhm.
So
Okay.
you will either get a JSON or a list or pandas, you will get a data frame as a response, right? So it will become very easy for you to understand things now.
Okay.
As I said,
Okay.
this is not the end of Python, this is a
Mhm.
start of Python for everyone.
Right. With regards to DE, I am sharing one link, and this contains for Spark. So anybody who wishes to, this is also very helpful.
Spark, for example. Yeah. Thanks, Nachiket, for sharing it. I will also check it.
Yeah, sure.
Not just Spark, they have Snowflake,
Yeah,
PySpark,
everything.
R, everything, right?
Yeah.
I will. Okay. Okay, great. Uh, if you guys do me a favor, just go to Namaste SQL and open your codes, right? And you can go to the bottom and drop a review. That will really help me. Okay. You can drop whatever you feel like. If you have any suggestion, anything you can put. I'm not saying you should all give me 5 star. If you feel it was 1 star, give me 1 star only. Okay. But put some review. It will really help me, in going forward if I can, make things better. Or if it is good, you can put good review. It will give me some motivation. Okay. But please drop a review. Okay. So whatever you felt like in last 5 6 weeks, just put a review. It can be small or big review. It can be 2 liner review. Or it can be 10 liner review. Whatever you feel like. Okay.
Yeah, sure. Ankit, is there any plan to start course for SQL in English?
So you can take the recorded one. Is it okay? We have the recorded one. So next English course will take time. So from in August I am doing a Hindi one.
Okay.
So this will go till September mid, and then I will take a some 1 month break. Maybe October end or November only it will be next batch
Okay.
English.
Yeah,
You
I
can take
think
the recorded one, and we have a good Telegram. We have Nachiket is there, other people are there, and they responded on the Telegram group. So if you have any doubt, you can put it there, and you can buy the recorded one.
yeah, okay. And Ankit, is there any plan to take any courses on GCP like data flow, composer kind of thing?
So GCP I have not worked. I am planning, it will take time for AWS. I have worked on AWS only in the cloud. Okay. So I don't want to take something I have not worked on because I don't have real-time experience. Maybe in future, if I work on those technology, I will create. But I have worked on AWS quite a lot, so I can create courses on AWS, but not GCP, I think.
Okay.
For SQL Hindi, like it is completely Hindi or little bit English will you teach?
It will be mixed kind of thing.
Mixed kind of.
But you should be able to understand Hindi.
Yeah, I understand.
If you understand, then it is fine. It will be mixed English kind of thing.
Okay, it's a mix. It's not
Yeah.
completely core Hindi like.
No. Even I don't know Core Hindi. Core Hindi is difficult. It's kind of Sanskrit. Yeah.
Like for simple words also, if you use Hindi, it is very hard to catch, right? If you use basic Hindi and English, it's a mix of Hindi and English, we can understand.
It is a mix actually, English kind of thing. Yeah. Okay. Thank you everyone for bearing with me for last 5-6 weeks. I hope you got something new to learn. You got some gist of Python. Python will go a long way for your career. So there are a lot of people who have moved from data analyst to data engineering, just by learning Python. Because in data engineering, there are two kinds of role, right? One is data engineering core and one is data engineering analytics. So for data engineering analytics, or they are also known as analytics engineer. So a lot of companies, they call it data engineer only, right? But in data engineering also, they have different roles. For example, last few months back, someone called me from Uber team. They are hiring for data engineers. So they specifically told me we have two kinds of role: data engineer analytics and data engineer core. You know, so for analytics, they don't expect all this DSA and too much coding, right? What they expect is you should be good in SQL, should be good in Python. You should understand the data modeling kind of things, data warehousing, data modeling. Little bit of any BI tool, and they will hire you as a data engineer if you are good in these
This
things.
is for
Right?
which company? This is for which company?
Uber,
you're saying?
Uber,
Okay,
Uber.
okay.
Yeah. So Uber have two kinds of roles. If you are getting a call for data engineer, they will tell you that we have data engineer analytics role and the other data engineer for which may be big data related things, Spark, Scala, all those kind of things they will ask. But for the analytics role, they will not ask all those things. Just if you know Python, SQL, data modeling, data warehousing, any one BI tool, and also maybe little bit of any cloud exposure, then you are good to go as a data engineer. Okay. So Python can take you from data analyst role to data engineer. That's what I'm saying. So make sure you do a good practice of Python. Because when opportunity will come, you will not have time. So you will get a call, they will say next week you have interview. Then in 1 week you can't do much. So be prepared. If you are not prepared and waiting for interview call, that then you will not be able to crack. In 1 week, you cannot practice enough to crack interview. So you have to make sure now only you are preparing yourself. Next 1-2 months, it is all fresh in your mind. If you practice next 1-2 months, then it will be good enough. And we have enough things to practice, right? I have given so many assignment projects. Now I will give you starter scratch also. So you don't make excuse that what to practice, where to practice. Those excuses you cannot make now. You have enough things to practice, right? So make use of all those things next 2 months and you are good. SQL and Python combination is very killer combination. For me, it has worked really good. It will work for you as well. Okay.
Ankit, what is SCD3? Just
SCD3, okay. I think we did not discuss. Yeah, we discussed 1 and 2. I can give a quick overview if you guys are okay. Okay.
just a
Let
brief.
me.
Even
Yeah, yeah.
Ankit, have we discussed lambda function and decorator? Just wonder.
Lambda function is just like, so for example, we had a for loop, if you remember, right?
Yes,
And then we have list comprehension.
yes,
So for loop, you can write a list comprehension in one line, right?
yes, Yes.
Similarly, is lambda. You are writing a function. Using lambda, you can write a small one-liner function. That's it.
Okay. So it's kind of
Okay.
comprehension only.
Right. For function, not a comprehension. Comprehension is running a loop. But
Okay.
what I'm saying, it is a short form of function, you can say. And
Okay.
one-liner functions. That's it.
Okay. Got it.
Okay. You don't have to define full function. You can just say lambda and then write a small, let's say, square or something. Right. So that's what I'm saying. In Python, there are a lot of things you can, whenever you get a doubt, just do lambda function. You will get some documentation, try it, and that's it. Nothing much.
Okay.
Okay. Let me share back my screen quickly to show you what is SCD type 3. You can share my screen, right? Oh, sorry, see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay. So if you remember, we discussed this SCD type 1 and 2. So one was like, if there is some update is happening, I will update. So this is, let's say, my product table, right? So this is iPhone 12 price is 70,000. Let's say it is increased to 80,000. So I will just keep it 80,000 and update it, right? This is my SCD type 1. I'm not keeping any history, right? Are you guys good with SCD type 1?
Yeah.
Okay. In SCD type 2, I'm keeping a history. So for example, it was 70,000, now it is 80,000. So I will create one more record, right? And it has become 80,000 now, right? It is expired today, right? And this is a new one, okay? And then this will be hidden. So I'm keeping a history, right? In SCD type 3, I will not create a new row, but I will have one more column. So it will be like this. You can implement this as well using Python. Okay. So I will have previous or previous price or any last price column. Right. So initially it will be all null when first time you are entering. Right. Okay. So let's say our example, it was 70,000 first, right? So I will enter a 70,000. Now it has changed to 80,000. So what I will do, I'll just keep this previous history in another column. And here I will update 80,000. So in this, we will have just the previous value of the iPhone 12. I will not have all the history. So in SQL type 2, I can keep as much history as I want because every time I'm entering a new row, right? So there's no limit how much history I can keep, right? I can keep whole history because every time I'm adding a new row and I can add as many rows as I want. In SCD type 1, I don't have any history, just the latest thing. In SCD type 3, you have only the previous instance of the history, right? So example, here iPhone 12, the previous price was 70,000, now it is 80,000. Let's say now it has become 90,000. So what you will do in the previous price, you will keep 80,000 and new one is 90,000, right? So this is a SCD type 3. Okay. Are you good?
Ankit.
Yeah. Okay, you can implement this as well. I say try 1, 2, 3, all three you can implement in your with Python and then you can upload the code on the GitHub. Okay. So for data engineering role, these things will help. Whatever we learned, essay type 1, 2, 3, how to do ETL basically. So that will help if you are applying for data engineering role. Okay. Now, some people will say that companies will not do in Python, essay type 1, 2, 3, they will do. That is fine. It is all about logic building, right? If you can apply this logic in Python, you can apply in SQL as well or any other coding language you are applying, right? So don't worry about that. The main thing people will see if you have the logic building ability, how you will implement SCD type 2. If you can build that logic in Python, you can do it any other language as well, right? So you just have to, don't worry about all these things if someone is saying that you should do in SQL or you can do in SQL, but in Python also you can put it in your GitHub repository. That will really grab the attention of recruiter.
So Ankit, there are no straightforward any rules, right? That for these things use SQL, for these things use Python.
There are no rules. It depends on what kind of infrastructure and tool you have in your company or in your project.
Yeah, because see, all the companies have already installed the SQL Server or any SQL tool. So, and the projects are already in SQL. So we have
Right.
numerous SQL Server procedures, triggers, and everything else.
Right.
So now, where to include Python now in this scheme of things?
So if you have, see, the data might not be in database, all the data, right? So your source data might be in S3, right? Not necessarily it will be in, a SQL directly. You have to fetch data from somewhere, right?
Mhm.
So
So
you
in
might have
this
in
source,
database, or let's say you are doing a web scraping, right? In web scraping, you don't have anything in database. You have to use
yeah.
Python to
Mhm.
get the data. And maybe sometimes what happens, let's say you have data in two different databases. Let's say some data you have in Teradata and some is SQL Server. Now you have to combine that data. Then in
Right.
Python, you can use from Teradata as well, from SQL Server and join them, and whatever you want to do, you can do, right?
Okay.
If you
Okay.
have heterogeneous data sources, then you
Mhm.
can use Python.
Python. Yeah. Okay.
If everything is in a one database, then you can do everything in SQL. Why you will use Python?
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
But if you have heterogeneous data system, let's say some data is in database, some in S3,
Right.
some is in your local or somewhere else, some other server, then you can use Python and combine all of that data.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Angit, by using this pandas, we can push data to cloud platform also, right? Like for GCP to BigQuery, Redshift.
Yeah, we can do it. We have all the functions available. Yeah.
Hi, Ankit.
There can
Just
be one more thing I will add. So there can be some specific libraries. So for example, for Redshift, we have pandas underscore Redshift. You know? But some variation will be there always. Yeah. Pandas is, really good and something you will get it. Yeah. Maybe it is a pandas method or it can be some library built on top of pandas, but you will get some flavor to upload data anywhere. Okay.